Yeah, and as the credits roll on the Bachelorette South Africa, we connect online and get a chance to dissect all of that. I'm Alexander for the SANDTON Times, and I'm joined by Michelle Reddy from the Bachelorette Season 1. Michelle, good evening. Let me quickly unmute your mic and see if I can hear you. There you go.
Hey Alex, hi everyone. How's it going?
Michelle, thanks for joining us. And Pasha was going to join us as well. And she sent me a message to say she's having some technical dilemma. So I don't think she'll be joining us tonight. So if you tune in to watch Michelle, Pasha, and I, well, it's only Michelle and I, but Michelle and I will try and do the best that we can as we're always planning to. And if there's a bit of a lag in the sound and the video, just bear with us. I suppose it's technology or whatever it is that we deal with these days. You're welcome to send us your questions. You can send it to us on Twitter or on Instagram, whatever you choose. You can send it to @SANDTON Times, or you can send it to @Michelle. Michelle, I'm sure you've got your phone or something close by. We've also got a chat box, which we'll keep an eye on as well on Facebook and YouTube. So if you've got any questions coming through, please do send those through to us. And it's a chance for us to dissect this first episode. But Michelle, first question to you is, are you happy or sad that you're not the Bachelorette and you're not sitting where Klaniso is sitting right now on the Vaal River, welcoming all these young gentlemen into her house?
I think everything happens for a reason. I'm so proud and so happy for Q. She's made us all so proud and represented South Africa in such a unique way and a special way as well. I think the guys offer each, a different trait, and I'd love to see how their personalities open up. I certainly do have some of my favorites, which we'll dissect further into and just go into those little moments that kind of gave me the shivers.
Well, I mean, it's quite a daunting task. I mean, you've been familiar with having to share the limelight with a dozen other ladies, and now it's one lady having to share it with a dozen other men. I don't know which one would you prefer, having to look at both scenarios?
As a woman, I think the best setting would be the Bachelorette. However, just because I was used to the Bachelor setting, I think the Bachelor would have been much preferred for me. But then again, I'm that type of person who likes competition. Remember, I went into the Bachelor with my eye on the prize and not necessarily making any friends. So yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing how these guys build relationships and try to remain civil at the same time, because there's a lot of testosterone under one house. So that's going to be very interesting as it unfolds.
Well, I must say, I think from what I saw from this first episode, it looked like the guys were making much more of the bar than the ladies were on the first night. Does that look right, or do you remember managing to squeeze in a few cocktails as well on the first night?
I think all of us had a glass of wine or champagne. I mean, the first night was obviously champagne, just to celebrate and get into the mood and swing of things. Yeah, there were some interesting ones. I noticed that the majority of the guys had their whiskey, some of them with gins, others with wine tasting. So, it was a introduction and an experience. I'm excited to see who receives the first impression rose. That's going to be very interesting.
Well, plot twist at the end there, right? And unexpected. There's a Hummer limousine that pulls up, which can only mean that either there's a party that went missing in the Vaal area, or there's a bunch of new guys that are going to rock up at this house and really throw the whole thing upside down. Because up until now, it seems like quite a humble bunch, a very sort of civil bunch of guys. They all seem to have very sort of I'd say very pleasant personalities. I haven't seen one guy that seems like he's the one who's going to cause a fight, or one that's going to, take on anybody else. So maybe that's what's coming in the second round of arrivals. I don't know what your gut feel is on this.
Good spotting. I can't agree with you. I actually agree with you, because when we were on The Bachelor season 1, just the ending of it, it's only fitting for the Bachelor Nation, and Mnet always has a twist and something up their sleeve. So yeah, it just brings in the fun and a little bit of a twist on play.
I took some notes as we were going through the show, so I think we're going to sort of run it down from top to bottom. What's your thought on the venue for the Bachelorette?
Ooh, outstanding. I think, all of these venues are just breathtaking. Looking back at season 1 on my journey, I think at the time that was fitting. That was, magical moment for me. But I see this and I'm like, oof, I should have been here than there.
Yeah, it looks like they've got way more space and they've really got quite a bit to work with there. They've got the river. I mean, I can already see all the outdoor activities. Whereas the SANDTON mansion wasn't bad for season 1. I mean, that looked pretty swanky. I don't know how it was space-wise. And then that Northcliffe mansion that they had, I think, was the second one. That looked a little bit claustrophobic sometimes, but they had a bit of a swimming pool, which wasn't too bad. So this, I think, by far has been one of the bigger and sort of very glamorous spaces. And I mean, the Vaal has got a lot to offer there in terms of what they've got from an outdoor activity perspective. So I think it's not a bad choice. Kaniso's dress looked pretty stellar as she got out of that car.
Well, just Alex, reeling back to that, the space that the Bachelorette mansion has compared to what we did. These are guys. They need their space. They need to throw a ball. They need to let off some steam. So I think there's a reason for that setting. And we're going to find out very soon what that is.
I'm sure. But I'm going to now circle back to my question about Deniso's dress. What are your thoughts when she got out of that car?
Oh, she's so beautiful. She carries herself so well. So much poise, sass. I think she's a beautiful lady. She deserved the Bachelorette, and I think she's going to make South Africa very proud, and I look forward to that happily ever after.
Well, I must say, I thought she also looked fantastic, and she has a great personality. She kind of really sort of, takes over the screen, and I think they made a really good choice with what she was wearing tonight. Then let's have a look at some of the guys that arrived in sort of sequence. So the first guy to rocked up in a Rolls Royce. I mean, how's that? It wasn't the last season of The Bachelor. They rocked up in a Toyota Taz or Corolla, or I don't know what it was. This guy decided, first out, Rolls Royce. I was like, look, doesn't really matter what he does now. I think he's done pretty well coming in a Rolls Royce.
He's stepping up these days, as the years go by. You just you dress to impress. You walk out there and you earn the show. So I think they've
power.
delivered.
So Henk, he's 27. He's from Swaziland, cricket coach. I see he also flies planes as a pilot. He arrived with a bongo drum. He even brought sort of a traditional Swazi gift, a necklace, and he was wearing the Swazi flag. My first impression was he's quite a nice guy. I don't know what you thought, Michelle, of Henk.
He was relatable. I liked his appearance. He wasn't trying too hard. He was just a gentleman who just wanted simplicity, and up from it, he thought, Q was beautiful, and she left a lasting impression on him. I think there's something there. There could be something there.
All right. Well, only the first guy, hey? So we can't offload all our compliments and all our thoughts on the first one. Then secondly, we had Bradley, who's 29, who seemed to have made a bit of an impression with Q. Data analyst, he rocked up in a red tuxedo, which is always a bit of a bold move, having a red tuxedo. Definitely not fitting in. Personalized box, and he prepared, even though maybe a slightly dicey rap, but a rap nonetheless, some sort of musical performance. Q's beatboxing wasn't too bad. I don't know about his lyrics. What did you think of Bradley?
Very confident gentleman. I think he's in it to win it, and I think with his charm and all that he brings to the table, he's got a chance.
Awesome. I see there's a comment that popped up from Use.
I thought at least a 7.
At least a 7?
Yeah.
Gee, well, Michelle.
Don't shoot a man down. That is the worst thing to do. I mean, first impression is always the lasting impression in their mind. And even if they're not as good as they think they are, just give them a little boost of confidence, throw in an extra 2 or 3 score.
Michelle, I see you got the technique down here. I was just going to say use on YouTube to send us 2 laughing, crying faces. I don't know which of those relate to what, but great to have you on there. And if you are watching us on YouTube or on Facebook, just send us a message. It'd be great to get your thoughts and some of your input on this first episode of the Bachelorette South Africa. Then our next guy was, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Khanya. 23. He arrived with a heart box and flowers, suit with a bow tie. He kind of almost made me think like this is a professor or a doctor. Big smile, big glasses. I mean, he seems like a very warm and loving guy, but he almost came across almost academic. I almost thought like he's going to say he's a bioengineer or a scientist of sorts. Yeah, very traditional. What did you think of those gifts, flowers and chocolates? Is that still your thing as well?
I couldn't agree more with regard to how he came across. I mean, definitely, fitting of an academic, speaks very well, I do think, just the gestures, the way to a girl's heart. I mean, on Sunday, it's Valentine's Day. What better way to give early gifts of chocolates and flowers? Yeah, I was impressed.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. You know what Michelle likes. So there we go. At number 4, we had 10. So that's he's 37, and I believe he's a teacher. And he was really dressed to the hilt. He even had his name printed on the back of his suit jacket, and he speaks Spanish, Espanol, and no gift, but he was wearing a scarf. Michelle, any thoughts on 10?
10 has better hair than I do.
Okay, well, there you go. All right, well, there you go. That's the one observation he made. He's got better hair than you do. Very long. Odette actually asked you a question, Michelle, while we take a break from the guys for now. She wants to know if you're taken already, or may we see you on the next Bachelorette, as you were a favorite, I think, in the past.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm not taken. I'm not seeing anyone. I think there's a new lingo of are you committed, or are you chatting with people? And usually chatting with people means it's going to end up in a relationship. So I'm nowhere anywhere of there.
Okay, so that's wide open.
I relocated to Cape Town, so that's been my focus for this year.
All right. Well, that's a good choice. I mean, Cape Town is probably one of our most beautiful cities, so good choice. Now you know where Michelle's at. And thanks for those questions. If you've got any more, please feel free to throw those through to us. Then the 5th guy to arrive was a guy called Keelan. He was 26. He's a marketing social media guy. He's into yoga. I think that was the guy who also asked or had a conversation towards the end about sort of rubbing and warmth and oils and all those sort of things. I think he had that conversation with Q at the end. And yeah, major arm tattoo there. And he also gave her a matching meditation band as a gift. So yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts, Michelle? Are you into yoga? Are you into tattoos? Meditation bands?
I'm into yoga. I'm not into tattoos. Perhaps on a guy, it could work. I don't have any tattoos. I'm very fearful of some of those needles. But yeah, he was very interesting. I enjoyed his story. I think he's been through a lot as a person, and then his perseverance and just drive to want to live, to want life. That was exciting to watch.
Brilliant. Well, number 6, we had Vuyani. He's 28. He's that really tall guy. I think he's a Benoni fitness instructor. He's also into basketball, and he did a bit of a photo shoot on the red carpet, which in the dark with a Polaroid is challenging at the best of times. From what I saw, he did manage to capture something, and then he managed to also get a selfie with Q on the bench. A quirky idea, something that he carried through. I mean, is that something that impresses you, Michelle, when a guy comes with sort of cutesy ideas with cameras and selfies?
Well, Alex, if he's putting that picture into his wallet, then most definitely that's an impression in itself.
Boom. All right. Enough said around that. At number 7, oh, this was an interesting one as well. Ruan. Ruan, also known as Jon Snow now. He's 26. And I think somebody remarked that he had a sexy Afrikaans accent. And he arrived with a stuffed toy wolf. I mean, I actually went back and actually Googled an image of Jon Snow, and I must say he does have remarkable similarities with him. So this must be a great pickup. I mean, I don't know what he was doing before Game of Thrones. It must have been so difficult. Now it's like, oh my goodness, you look like Jon Snow. Let's go for dinner. So yeah, I mean, he seems to be a quite a hot favorite.
He's my favorite.
Well, there you go. Right. So if you look like someone from Game of Thrones, there you know. Bump into Michelle in Cape Town. Then in number 8, Aviwe 25. He's a model. Oh yeah, he's the model with the soccer ball. He arrived with the soccer ball. He got Beniso to kick a ball in her high heels, which I thought was quite a challenging task to ask of a woman, because I know just to walk on lawn in high heels is one thing. To kick a ball, you know, might be in a stretch. If she'd broken her shoes, it would have been the end of the evening. But yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are on a V-wear.
These guys are coming out. Hey? It's usually the woman testing the man. It's now the other way. You know, they her to see, can she kick the ball? Can she get into that playful way of life, and how she exudes her personality, and how she as a person lives out each and every day. So there's a dual test here. I like it.
Well, yeah, I mean, a bit of sporty. I mean, nothing wrong with that. Hey, nobody ever got hurt with that. So at number 9, we had Mark, who's 41. Mark's 41. He's a life coach, and he gifted her a carrot. Now, this all seemed a little bit odd. I don't know if there's something that I missed with that, but yeah, I don't know what the carrots were about. I don't know if I maybe blinked and missed something on that show.
He's dangling. He's trying to get.
Is that it? Okay, so all right, so yeah, was it managed with carrots? Okay. Then Dylan, he's 29. He arrived on a bicycle. Oh yeah, this was another great one. So this is following our Rolls-Royce arrival. This one arrived on a bicycle, and he's self-described a good weird. I don't know if you've ever met someone who's good weird, but he's a music streaming entrepreneur, and he made her a mixtape. And he also arrived with no tie. Michelle, are you quite fussy about guys arriving looking all polished? I mean, do they have to wear a 3-piece suit and a tie, or are you quite cool with a jacket and an open shirt on a first date as well?
I think given the setting, you know, if it's a first impression, I think you want to suit up and you want to give that full impression. I'm not opposed to, you know, just a shirt and a coat on a date. So whatever works for the environment and wherever we're going. Well, I'm talking about we, but wherever they're heading off to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the royal we. It's sort of, you know, when the Queen says we shall go for tea, it means she's going for tea. So I totally understand. I totally bell of the ball. Mixtape. I mean, did you ever get a mixtape as a gift? I mean, I know this is my generation. We still had tapes and CDs. There's probably a whole bunch of people watching this going, I don't even know what you're talking about. But mixtape, did you make one? Did you get one? How did mixtapes work in your life?
I've never had one in my life.
Oh. All right. Well, that's the end of that then. I remember making a mixtape. But yeah, okay. All right. Well, then let's move on to number 11. Franco, 29, financial advisor. Oh, and then he gave her that box that can't open, but I don't know if they actually ended up opening it at some point. Maybe that only happens in another episode. So that was that. Then number 12, Kieran, 33. He arrived with a pot plant, which had sort of been done before. A bit cutesy because she'd arrived with a pot plant when she was on the show. And I suppose maybe he was just sort of tying that up together somehow. And then Justin, 26, he's an athlete. He arrived with a black polo neck and jacket. He's into sports conditioning, and he brought a self-painted painting, which I actually thought was actually quite good, that painting. I don't know what you thought, but I thought it was actually pretty well put together for someone who seemed big into sport. You never really thought that he could paint as well.
I think we should be writing down top 3. Justin's definitely in top 3.
Oh wow! Okay, I'm gonna make a note here. I'm gonna make this bold. So when we relook at this again at the end of this whole thing, you're saying Justin top 3. We're gonna pick 2 other ones, but let's quickly finish this list, and then you tell me who your other 2 are. Okay. Then number 14, Peter, who's 27. This was also a really fascinating one. They were in grade 5 together. And he also brought the heart emojis. Now, how's that? What would you have done if you would have bumped into someone you went to school with on the show?
You know, it's such a cute thing. I think she was going down memory lane just to try and remember that relationship and, you know, how it played out back then. So that was very interesting. I do think that he could be top 3.
Really?
By her reaction, Peter, that's Peter, you know. That's, yeah, girls don't usually express in that way about a guy. So my opinion, top 3.
So am I putting Peter down in the top 3? I'm also going to make a note here as well. Okay, so Peter from grade 5, he's in. I mean, she did make a very good point, though. I mean, they hadn't really spoken for the last, I don't know, decade or 2 decades. So, like, what happened to Peter? Did he disappear? Is he not on Instagram? You know, what happened? I mean, what an interesting choice to come onto a show to meet someone that these days you can actually meet even not coming onto a show. I mean, if you went to school together. But okay, all right, I'll take it. So then number 15, I think he was the last one, was Lunga. He's 30, and he arrived in full Xhosa regalia, all traditional. I mean, it looked pretty impressive. I mean, alone the headwear, I mean, the folds and everything is just, it looked really impressive. And I think traditional wear always looks really good. And I think he did quite a good job with it. I thought it was very different. He stood out. What's your take on traditional gear? I mean, if someone had to arrive on your red carpet in a kurta or in a you know, something culture appropriate, is that something that you quite like?
I would say embrace it. You know, if that's your personality and that's the following of who you're about, most definitely. I mean, what better way to get to know someone than in that manner? Lunga, definitely. I think either first impression rose, otherwise top 3, top 5.
Okay, cool. Well, okay, I'm gonna make another note here. So first impression or I'll go with top 5 because she wasn't too happy about being spoken to and not spoken with. So that gives me a little bit of a sense that might be a little bit of an issue, but we'll see. Then just some general things that I made note of. What did you think about the first sort of chats that she had with some of the guys? Do you think they were anything to get excited about, or were they pretty sort of so-so?
You know, reeling back to my time on The Bachelor season 1, you don't really have that much time to peel out the onion layers and get to the crux of what you want to discuss or topics, or it's very general. So I think right now Hugh's just trying to figure out from first impression, are they approachable? Are these guys gentlemen? You know, just simplicity. I think that's what she's looking for. She's looking for love. She's looking for someone who speaks to her soul and somebody who's going to compliment her, which is going to be most important. So I think just those face value impressions are going to be highlighted.
Well, listen, having been on the side of where the guys are sitting right now, how stressful or how critical is that first night when you're up against the most ladies you will be up against throughout the whole show and having to make that impression? And when do you know when you have made that impression? I mean, apart from kissing the guy or whatever, you know, how confident do you walk into that first rose ceremony knowing that, you know, you're actually going to live to see another episode?
Well, I think each individual to themselves. If you're a confident person and you walk the walk and talk the talk, then you just own that night regardless of how it could turn out. It's also to a point where you'll just never know what the bachelor/bachelorette is thinking. your impression could be successful and the winning star, but on the other hand, the bachelor/bachelorette could think, oh my goodness, no, definitely not this person.
Well, another interesting thing that I picked up on, and we touched on this right in the beginning of this conversation, was the sort of nerd factor that was kind of floating around in this house. I think Anissa also pointed it out, and a couple of them I think were, proudly so. That they quite enjoyed clearly their computer games or their TV series, and totally amazing that there were so many of them. And I think maybe this next bus is going to be the ultimate dilution. So maybe she's going to get a whole nother bunch of guys who are going to be the complete opposite of all these nerds. Anything wrong with nerds, Michelle? Are you quite into the nerds, or you prefer the tall, dark, and handsome sort of danger boys, the bad guys who like a bit of, I don't know, jumping off cliffs or whatever it is that they do?
I should be interested and I should lean more toward the academic person, but I tend to always go for the bad boys. And just, I had a discussion the other day about a guy who, extreme sports, and I want to be that person who's like following or right next to you, and I'm like, let's race, boy. So definitely an extrovert, which I look for, but usually extroverts are quite bad boys because they push the limits and go far beyond where they need to. Whereas academics, very straightforward, readable people.
Well, we're getting all your messages on YouTube. We're getting some shout outs here. So Shanae sends hugs to you, Michelle. Carl says, how's it? So yeah, thanks for sending all that through. And if you've got any questions, if you've got anything else, please feel free to keep sending that through. Then Brad offered his jacket, and he also kicked off a wine tasting from the back of the label in a gin glass. Quite a sort of impromptu romantic evening. Was that, do you think, quite a cool gesture, the handing over a jacket to a lady who's getting cold?
The jacket's always a winner, especially, given the fact that it was red. It's a red rose that you're hoping to receive at the end of it. That's memorable. Those are moments that she's going to keep at the back of her mind. And when it comes to this rose, guaranteed he's getting one.
All right. So Brad killed it with the red wine and the red jacket. The plot twist I'm interested about. I know we don't have too much time left. I think we've got literally like 3 minutes before we call it quits on this post-first episode, The Bachelorette South Africa Season 1 debut. And, I think there's still quite a bit lined up. I mean, from a little bit of the teaser trailer they showed us, I think there's still going to be a couple of scary moments. I don't know if we're going to dissect each episode every week, but I'm sure we'll probably check in halfway through, and we'll probably check in just before the end of the season to, have a look and see where we're at. And if some of these predictions, I made a note of your predictions in terms of top 3 and top 5. So let's see if some of that stuff comes through. Obviously, we still have to factor in these other guys that are rocking up in the Hummer limousine, which we don't know what that could be. That could be your, let's race guy, and that could change everything. But Michelle, your thoughts otherwise?
That's the naughty car. That's the car your parents warn you not to get into, but you still get into. It's not
about getting in. I'm worried about what's coming out of that car. So who knows? That might throw off our top 3 completely. But Michelle, thank you so much for joining us on this chat. And what are your plans for 2021? You said you moved to Cape Town. Anything else happening or planned for the rest of the year, apart from, obviously lockdown and everything else that we're having to manage at the moment?
Well, plans for 2021, just trying to center myself, trying to find more ways just to feed my soul. I've been doing a lot of meditation, a lot of yoga, various hikes. So that's kind of, it's in relation to self-love. So that's going to be a focus also on Valentine's Day. Just me. Call it self-love. Some people.
It sounds great. Sounds good, Michelle. And I do hope that even though it'll just be you yourself and you on Valentine's Day, that you do manage to crack a box of chocolates or some sort of bouquet even if it is. Even if it is from an anonymous person or maybe by pure chance. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. You're looking fabulous, and I look forward to us catching up again in the not too distant future. Maybe around the Bachelorette, maybe around something else. Who knows what we might have to chat about. But it's been great having you on.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure, Alex. Thanks for having me. SANDTON Times. What an amazing platform. And yeah, I look forward to being on the next one.
You're a rock star. Thanks so much. Good night, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. And if you're watching this delayed, I hope you enjoyed our conversation. And we hope to do it again soon. Not something we do all the time, but we thought, well, this could be fun. Let's put it together. Let's try it out. And my gosh, there's still so many other reality shows popping up on an Mnet this year. There's Love Island, there's Survivor. Yeah, so we've got quite a bit to digest, and we'll probably do some of these around those shows as well. So if you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, and it was great having you on and joining us for this conversation. So for now, good night from me, and catch you soon. Go well.